It's Trey Styles on the beat.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How's it going?
going
How's it
on?
going? How's it going? Happy Monday. Welcome back, you guys, to the Monday After Sports Show with myself, Kaja, and my guy, Nadi, out in Georgia. ATL, shouty.
Man, it's so cold out here right now. It was even some
Really?
snow flurries today. Yeah, it's
Say it again.
crazy. I said it was some snow flurries.
Some snow flurries.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Ah, y'all
It's
here to add
crazy.
some snow flurries.
Yeah.
OMG. So, what is the temperature there?
It's 35 right now.
Oh, 35. We
Yeah,
had
it's
some
crazy.
some wonderful weather last week. It was like 70s. It was sunny. The parks were crowded. I was loving it. And then it dropped like just off a cliff. It went right back to where
Right.
it was. But no snow. It's raining here. It was raining here today. We don't have no snow, thank God. I'm so done with snow. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
I
we've
don't want to
had
see
some
I don't want to
rain.
see another snow flurry at all.
We had some rain overnight.
Hmm.
Some winds. But man, this weather, it don't even make no sense how cold it is. I mean, considering we were just in the 80s.
Hmm.
Yeah, that it don't make no sense. I
The
don't get
thing
it.
this time of year is always well, literally why March Madness, not just with basketball, with the weather too, because it goes from like it transitions from like winter to spring, but then it kind of goes back to winter, and it goes to spring, and then it goes back, and it goes back and forth. It bounces back and forth. So you don't know if
Right.
you should put on your coat or you should put on your light jacket, put on your boots, and put your tennis shoes on. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. I can't wait till it finally just gets
Just
warm
stay
and
warm.
stays warm.
Yeah,
Right.
you look like
I
you was
don't
kind of
do
cold.
cold weather.
Were you outside the cold?
For the most part, I've been inside today. When it's cold outside, I try not to even fool with it.
Oh, you want to know? You like it's cold. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I don't like do nothing when it's cold outside. I'm no
I
good in the
get it.
cold.
Yeah, I feel you. You like tour, huh?
Yeah, a lot like tour.
Oh man. See, that's not good then. We gotta still be able to do some things. You can still go to work and stuff, right?
I like that I work for myself. So when it's cold, I can reschedule and do
Um,
things like that.
are you really rescheduling work?
Yeah. I
The
mean,
weather?
unless I got work on the inside,
Uh-huh.
I'm not doing work on the outside when it's cold.
OMG. That
Yeah,
is crazy. All right, you guys, we're
can't
gonna
do
get
it.
right into it. I'm not gonna even hold you guys. March Madness. I'm super excited this year. I'm gonna share my screen so we can talk about this bracket. Are you excited for March Madness? Are you ready?
I'm ready for it. I can't say I'm excited, but I anticipated more this year than I have in the past couple years. I'll say there's some big names that I want to see, and I want to see how how they perform.
Actually blew it up a little bit bigger so we could see
A
it.
lot of hype, a lot of hype.
So breaking down, right? We're gonna go from Duke to Siena. What? I'm like some of these matchups. I'm like, really?
Well, your 1 and 16s are always gonna be that, but once you start getting to that 5 and 12, that's when they really start to get, because there's been a 12 that has beaten a 5 like every year
Hmm.
since I can remember. So that 5 and 12 matchup is where it really gets complicated, and
Hmm.
really, I would say over the past 10 years, even the 2 and 15 games can be competitive. Like it's some tools that got knocked off. So you can't really take any team for granted at this point, because the NIL one thing it has done, it has created a lot of parity, not only in college football but also in college basketball.
Mhm. So when you're looking at this tax bracket, like, are there any games specifically that you're excited to see? Any players that you want to that you're keeping an eye on? Like, what are your predictions if you have any?
Well, I'm looking right now. I figure we'll start off in the East bracket with Duke,
Mm-hmm.
Siena, and
Mm-hmm.
some of those teams. Saint John's is a game because they are 5, and they're playing Northern Illinois. That could be a game to watch out for. I mean, no, they're playing Northern Iowa.
Iowa.
That can be a game to watch out for. I mean, Northern Iowa in their last 10 games, they're 7-3. So they're playing some really good basketball right now. We know what St. John's bring to the table. They're well coached. It seems
Always.
like coaching matters in college basketball. You got a guy like Rick Pitino.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he seems to always show up about this
Mm-hmm.
time. It doesn't matter if he's in Kentucky. It doesn't matter where he at. So I look forward to that game. It's some tough players. When you talk about Northern Iowa, you talk about Trey Campbell, having a pretty good season, averaging 14 a
Mm-hmm.
game. That's pretty solid. And with the supporting cast, like I said, they're 7-3 in the last 10 games. It could be a tough matchup for a St. John's team. So that's one that pops out to me. Also, I do want to see Kansas because you got to see Darren Peterson. Is he hurt? Is he 100% healthy? Is he gonna bow out of a game if
I
the
think
game
he'll
is
play.
tight?
I don't know if
Yeah,
he'll play like the whole game, but I think he will play in some of the games for a little bit.
yeah. Well, that's another game that I'm really looking forward to. Basically, with Kansas, I could watch the first game and whether they win or lose, it can determine whether or not I've seen enough. Because, like I said, I'm really watching Kansas for one guy, and that's Darren Peterson. And I just want to see what he's really
Mm-hmm.
made of when it's come tournament time. And if he's not made of the right stuff, I mean, I think Kansas, even without Darren Peterson, I think they're good enough to win this basketball game. But I mean, because you're playing who Cal Baptist, honestly, and I know Cal Baptist, they've been pretty good in their last 10 games, 8-2. But it's Cal Baptist. Honestly, this is my first year ever hearing of Cal Baptist, so I expect Kansas to beat them regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas has been struggling lately, but this is a time where you if you got a real guy on your team, you got a real superstar. This is a time where he's supposed to step up and show that
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for a reason and we are legit.
So me, I'm looking Michigan. We are big Elliot Cadeau fans in this household, so I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see what Michigan does. I like Duke. I've liked Duke for a while now. I know they're down a very, very important player. But that team is always stacked with talent, even at the far end of the bench. The coach was saying that the lineup they had, I think in yesterday's game, was it yesterday? He was saying the lineup they had in the game, like they never even like practiced together before, because they have so much talent. So that was the first time they ever like even like played, together, like in the actual game or whatever. So I expect Duke to get really far. Some of the powerhouse schools you expect great things from, but I think when it gets down, like, when it gets closer, because I expect Duke to go far. I'm wondering how the absence of Caleb is going to affect the team overall, because he's been there for
Right.
so long. You know, he's a really important piece to this puzzle, in my humble opinion. St. John's, UConn. I love UConn. I love their coach. They're always going to be. They're always going to play hard. So I expect great things from them. Arizona as well. Kansas, like you said, I want to see Darren Peterson. Like, hopefully, I believe he's going to actually play in games. I don't know if he's gonna. His agent's going to be like, okay, you're going to play one half and it's out the next half. I think he's really getting some bad advice, honestly speaking.
Right.
But that's another conversation. But I do believe that he actually will play. I think it will. If he didn't play at all, I think it might actually hurt him. I think. Um, but yeah. Or
Yeah.
any like
Well,
outside of Darren Peterson, like what other players, like specifically, do you want to see?
Well, I
If any.
Duke when like I said, I was strictly in the East, but with Duke, I would say the
Mhm.
Boozer. I want to see Boozer perform. I expect him that they'll play the winner of. I mean, actually, they got Siena. I expect them to blow out Siena, and then
Mhm.
that next round, if it's Ohio State or TCU, I expect a much closer game and to see a bigger performance out of them. All the number ones are solid to me. I like
Mhm.
Florida. I like Michigan. I like Arizona. I like all those teams. The team that I'm really looking forward to is Gonzaga and Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State is right down here in Georgia. They're a real small school,
Gonzaga.
right? And for Kennesaw State to make the tournament,
Mhm.
that's it's huge. It's huge, and they got a guy down there, man. They got Mr. Simeon Cotto. I mean, he's averaging 20 points a game, and he ain't no slouch.
I'm not
And they
familiar with him. Okay.
right, they're gonna take it to Gonzaga. Gonzaga is very beatable come tournament time. Usually the Gonzaga get you to the Elite Eight or something like that. Sometimes they'll get you to the Final Four, but Gonzaga always seems to at some point they'll struggle. They'll drop the ball. They'll lose to a team that they're
Mhm.
supposedly supposed to beat. And so, although I like Gonzaga because it's a small school that plays big throughout the season, I got to ride with Kennesaw State because, like I said, Kennesaw State is right up the road from me,
Mhm.
and this is a big step for them to make the tournament, and they have some recognition. So, shout out to Kennesaw State. I look forward to seeing them perform. As now, of course, everybody wanted to see what BYU has because BYU has potentially the number one pick in the draft, and AJ DeBanster is he could because the Atlanta Hawks, who have been playing very well lately,
Mhm.
because they own the rights to the Pelicans pick. The Pelicans are going to be in the lottery. The Hawks could end up with the number one pick in the draft again, and there's a lot of
Mhm.
discussion on who would you take at the number one. And a lot of people down here in Atlanta are really high on AJ DeBanster. So I really want to see how good is he. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he's very good. He's
Yes.
gonna be number one and number two pick in the draft. But I want to see, tournament time is different. And so BYU, they'll end up playing one of the play-in teams. But he's a guy who I'm gonna have my eye on in this
Mhm.
in this entire tournament. So I mean, Florida, you gotta like Florida. I mean, it's some really good
Mhm.
teams. Like I said, this year's tournament has me way more excited than the past. Oh, and don't let me forget about the guard down in Arkansas, Darius Acuff Jr.
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't seen him play a lot this year, but the couple times that I did see him play, he
Mhm.
showed up. And that's something that's big for me. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times you'll hear about a guy who's supposed to be this, he's supposed to be that. And you say, okay, let me
Mhm.
watch him on a random night. And on that random night, like, where is he? But not this guy. Not this guy.
Where'd he go?
When I tuned into him, I'll be like, okay, I see what all the fuss is about. A guy who's averaging 23 and 7, down there 7 assists. I mean, he's a complete package. Depending on who ends up with the number one pick in the NBA draft, if you need a guard, if you need a point guard, he could go number one. So I'm very looking forward to seeing Arkansas play. I think that
Mhm.
first round they're going to have Hawaii. That's going to be a great matchup. A 4 and 13. A
Mhm.
13 can be a 4. Like I said, there's a lot of parity in college. So I really want to see the big names, the guys
Should I
who are
show up?
selected to be lottery picks, 1 through 5, 1 through 10. Are they who they are talked about to be?
I'm actually. I feel bad. For UNC. Caleb.
Yeah.
'Cause, he got hurt, and I was like, oh man. Like what a sucky time to get hurt. Really sucks. That he can't really participate. But it would have been really cool to see what he was going to do. I believe he would have showed up. When it comes to AJ's a powerhouse to me, like as an individual. But when I watch him play, um, I don't get team ball. And in this situation, he's gonna have to rely on some other players, not just so much the AJ show. It's not bad for him to obviously he's the focal point of that team. I get it, but there are times in games I'm just like, this game shouldn't be that close. And I'm like, okay, you got to share the ball a little bit more. You know what I mean? The focal point is you. And like I said, he's a powerhouse, but to me, and he'll learn this as time goes on, depending on what team he goes to and what they need from him. I don't think right now his greatness um, makes others around him better. There are times like when they played Kansas, and he was out there, guarding Darren Peterson. I'm just like, Darren Peterson was getting wherever he wanted to get. He was getting wherever he wanted to get on AJ.
Right.
I'm like, dude, why are you even guarding him? Like, I get, you're the best two players on the team, top two players in the draft, top three, however you want to go about it. And maybe you felt like you wanted to show everybody that that you could guard him or whatever have you. But I'm just like, put the ego to the side. Let somebody else guard him because he's cooking you right now. He's getting wherever he want to get, in spite of you, getting around you, underneath you. Or like, I was like, dude, guess what I was at assignment? Guess what I was at assignment? Let somebody else take it. So just things like that. Cause I'm just like, I feel like his IQ is, to me, I saw a difference in IQ, and skill when I watched those two go against one another. To me, that stood out like a sore thumb. So in this situation, I want to see if he's learned from that and how he navigates, these big pressure moments.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I mean, he's at BYU, which and they've had some solid teams. They usually do play team ball,
Mhm.
but they've never had a guy like AJ before. And he does shoulder a lot of the load. And sometimes he does play a little bit selfishly. Man, I kind of understand a little bit. I mean, he's there for a good time, but not a long time. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
he's
most of the top players are. They're for a
right.
good time.
They're sliding themselves for to go to the NBA. But I
Mhm.
think that a lot of these teams already know, like you said, we already know that you got the talent. We already know that you're good. Now that it's tournament time, can you win? Can you play
Mhm.
winning basketball? And in order to
Mhm.
play winning basketball, you're gonna have to trust your teammates sometimes. You're gonna have to be a
Yeah.
little bit more unselfish than normal. When you was talking about North Carolina missing Caleb Williams, I think North Carolina is in trouble in the first round. I
Mhm.
think VCU gonna get them.
You do.
Yeah, because when I look at it, VCU is coming in the tournament. They're already hot. They've won
Mhm.
9 out of their last 10. But VCU is a better team from the free throw line. They're a better team from the 3-point line. And when it
Mhm.
comes to just regular field goal percentage, period, they're about even. Now, don't get me wrong. North Carolina plays in a much tougher conference in the ACC,
Mhm.
but VCU, they have the pieces, especially when you're talking about you missing your best player at North Carolina, who's
Mhm.
coming in the tournament. They're not. To me, they're not playing their best basketball. So I like VCU for the upset in the first round against North Carolina. I really do.
There's always going to be an upset. There's always going to be some team. You're like, where the heck did they come from? I think was it last year, the year before? I think it was oh, what team was that? I think it was NC State. They were like about to be like just out of everything. They had like the one like their last, I think, like 6 or 7 games in a row, and they won all the way out and like got so far. They were like almost like what, a Final Four. I think they won the Final Four, close enough to a
Right.
Final Six,
I
one of the
believe
two.
so.
But it was crazy like how they made that run. I mean, they were on the brink of elimination, and they had to when it was a must win or your season was over, and they just went on a whole winning streak. Like just they just got really really hot. So there's always those teams that you least expect. You're like, wait, somebody's gonna be on the upset alert. You'll be like, how the heck did they lose to that team?
Yeah.
And I was just telling my son, like, you don't want to underestimate anybody in these situations. It's not like a best of seven, best of five series. You just got to be the better team for that one game on that one night.
Right.
And whoever's the better team, that's who moves on. And you maybe have been a better team the entire season, but right now you're not. We beat you, so see you next year, and that's that.
Yeah, let me also send a shout out to Georgia. Georgia, they're also in the tournament. They're gonna be in it's a coin flip between Georgia
Mhm.
and St. Louis, in my opinion. Either of those teams can win. I'll ride with Georgia, but honestly, Georgia doesn't shoot the 3-point ball very well.
Mm-hmm.
And in this tournament, when it's tournament time like this, I think it's very important that you can hit that three, because a lot of times what teams like to do, they like to congest the paint. You know, the 3 point line is a little bit shorter in college, so it's harder to work down low. You got to be able to spread, space the defenders out. And if you can't shoot that three ball, if they're not respecting that three ball, it's really tough. But hey, Jeremiah Wilkinson, he's a good player. He's been leading Georgia all year. It's gonna be up to him to kind of put them where they need to be. But St. Louis ain't no slouch. They are very well at shooting the three. Um, they're really well rounded in all areas,
Mm-hmm.
and so I expect that to be a good game. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Louis end up beating Georgia, but it's Georgia. I'll kind of ride with the home state team, even though I've never really been a UGA fan.
Mm-hmm.
But well, when Ant Man was here, I was rooting for him, and back when Dominique Wilkins was playing here, even though I was young, um, I was made to like Georgia, but and Georgia has had some teams that I have like, but for the most part, I've been more Georgia Tech when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
basketball. But Georgia Tech ain't nowhere to be in sight right now. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing Georgia St. Louis. I think that's going to be a very competitive game in the first round, coming out that Midwest bracket.
So, really quickly, in the East, what teams do you have coming out the East? Like to that final, I would say the final four in the East. Like, who are your predictions?
The Final Four, and I am gonna fill out me. I think I'm gonna fill out 4 brackets, 2 for the men and 2 for the women.
Mm-hmm.
Just to throw it out there. Um, in
So
the
for the East, who
East,
you got?
I gotta like Duke.
Mm-hmm. That's
Oh,
a given.
man,
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
agree.
tough. It's tough in the East. I ain't gonna even lie. The East might be the toughest bracket because I know what UConn represents too, and UConn is gonna be a tough out. And it's tournament time. Tom Izzo is always has his team ready come tournament time. So really, I like those 3 teams, and I know they're the top 3 seeds, and so people might say, you going chalk, but I really
Mm-hmm.
like those teams, and I like St. John's too. Kansas is the one team that I really have question marks about because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if their guy has heart, but if I had to pick 2 teams to out of the East, I'm gonna say UConn and St. John's.
So for
I gotta
four,
say
the
Duke.
four,
Duke got them boozers though. Duke is good.
only one to me is relevant as far as they go. But for me, my four in terms of the East, I'm gonna go Duke. I'm gonna go St. John's. I'm gonna go Kansas, and I'm gonna go UConn for sure. I'm never gonna like bet against UConn. I'm not really worried about Kansas because they've gotten to a point now where they're almost like so used to playing without Darren, like because he's been out, in and out the line so much and everything. And they've flowed just as great even without him. Now, obviously, you would rather have him than not have him, but they're more capable of winning games with people they have on that roster. So, and they're well coached. So, um, I don't expect anything. I don't expect less from them. That's who I have. Somebody's gonna be an upset alert. I don't know who it is, but those are just like my predictions right now. Now I'm gonna stick beside them too. I'm
Yeah,
gonna stick
you got
beside.
yeah. They just and I feel you on Kansas. They've had some bad losses. Now you beat Arizona, which was huge because Arizona is a 1 seed to beat Arizona, but you lost by 18 to Iowa State. Then you got blowed out by Cincinnati. The first time this time before last, you played Arizona, you got blowed out. You got beat by 23, and you lost by double digits to Arizona State. I mean, they've just had some bad losses. Houston beat them by 22 points. So they just had some bad losses, and when they lose big. They don't lose close games. They're getting a head beat. So I just have some concerns about them, but definitely
I get
Kansas is well coached, and they do have talent, and they should make a good run. Will they? Is something that is worth keeping our eye on.
Who do you have coming out of the South?
In the South, I like Florida.
Me too.
I really like Florida. Houston, well
Me too.
coached. Houston,
Like Houston.
just last year, I thought they should have won it.
I
So
did too.
a call here, call there. I really like Houston again. Those are the two teams I like. I also, as a smaller team, a team that uh I want to say Vandy, but I'm not sure Vandy
Mhm.
gonna sneak out that first round. McNeese State has been playing some really good basketball lately. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say McNeese State is a
Mhm.
dark horse to come out of
Okay.
there, and also, like I said, I expect VCU to knock off North Carolina in the first round, and if VCU can knock off North Carolina, they could get all the way to a game where they play in Houston, and then of course I think Houston will knock off VCU at that point.
Mhm.
But I like VCU as well.
I'm gonna go Florida. Going Florida. I'm going Houston. Oof. Ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo. I'm gonna go Florida. I'm gonna go Houston. I'm gonna go Clemson. I'm gonna go Clemson. Florida, Houston, Clemson. And ooh, dark horse. 'Cause I'm not gonna give up on them. My dark horse. I'm gonna go North Carolina. I'm not gonna give up on them.
Yeah,
No, them not having Kip is a huge blow. But I'm gonna give them as I'm keeping them as my dark horse. I'm gonna do that.
I,
Switching to the Midwest. Who you got coming out the Midwest?
in the Midwest.
Yep, your top
Well,
four.
well, again, Michigan is well coached,
Yes, they
and
are.
I like Michigan. I like Michigan. I also like. I'm looking at it. I really do like St. Louis, even though I know I said I'm picking Georgia, but I really do like St. Louis because I think they're capable of knocking down a three very well. Virginia is a very good basketball team. You can't sleep on Virginia. They got a really good player that I like, and I don't know how to say his name right, but his last name is Ritter. I like that kid, and so I would say those three. Um, Mm, yeah, I would say those three. I'm not gonna sit here and Iowa State is a really good basketball team,
Hmm.
and I know they're very talented. They, like I said, hell, they just beat the brakes off Kansas not too long ago. So I won't be surprised if Iowa State come out, but I think Tennessee State is gonna get them a run for their money in the first round.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna stick with those three teams. I'm gonna stick with St. Louis, Michigan, and Virginia.
All right. I am going Michigan. I mentioned them earlier. Michigan for me. Um, I've always liked Tennessee. Hmm. You can't go against a highly ranked team in Iowa State. And then I'm guessing, like for my dark horse, I'm just guessing right here. Um, hmm. Oh my goodness. My dark horse, I'm gonna go. And this is just a guess, y'all, right? Um, I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
It's not a bad pick.
That's just my dark horse, y'all.
That's not a
Um,
bad
and-
pick. Even though I think I got Akron knocking off Texas Tech in the first round,
Mhm,
but JT Toppin, I mean, this kid is a beast. I mean, 22 and 11. I mean, he's pretty much been a dominant player. Now, I
mhm,
think he's going to be a player that's possibly going to go in that top 15 when we talk
mhm,
about the NBA lottery. So I
mhm,
think Texas Tech is definitely a team to watch out for. And, they play in a tough conference. They won their last three and they've been hot. But I
mhm,
just think Akron, if there is an upset in the first round, I think Akron is one of those teams. Akron is coming in red hot. I mean, they've won 10 straight games. And they do a very good job of shooting a three. Texas Tech is shooting three right on par with them, but
Hmm.
man, that Tavari Johnson, the kid can just put the ball in the hole. And when you got a smaller school like that, you got a kid like that. He's trying to fight and claw his way to have his name mentioned when it comes to the NBA draft. He can possibly slot himself based on how he performs in this tournament. Nobody's really talking about Akron, but I think Mr. Johnson can put his name. He can get his name in the first round if he plays
Hmm.
well in this tournament. And there's no better place to start off than knocking off Texas Tech, because Texas Tech Texas Tech can possibly end up in the Final Four.
What's up, Nasir? How are you? Nasir said Arkansas versus Arizona. All right, and last but not least, who you got in the West? We already know who
Well,
Nasir picked.
Mr. Nasir came in and he pretty much hit the nail right on the head. I
That's who
mean,
you got.
I like Arizona in this particular region.
Hmm.
I like Arkansas to come
Hmm.
out of this region. I just
Hmm.
I know what John Calipari. Now, don't get me wrong, John Calipari, he took a lot of criticism at Kentucky
Hmm.
because he didn't get it done he had a lot of good teams and he didn't get it done all the time as consistent as they would want. But I like Arkansas. I like the point guard. I mean, he's a stud, and John Calipari and those guys got a lot to prove. But Arizona is for real. Um, like I said, I'm gonna be riding with Kennesaw State. Is Kennesaw
Hmm.
State a real player? I don't think they're a real player, but I got to ride with them because they right up the road. And BYU, those are
Hmm.
the teams. But really, Arkansas and BYU for me out of that region.
I'm gonna go Arizona. Um, Arizona. I do expect. I don't know. I don't think. I don't have BYU winning. Um, but I think they will get far. I will give them that. So I'm gonna go Arizona. I'm gonna go BYU. Um, I like Gonzaga. Gonzaga. However you want to pronounce it. And ooh, my dark horse. Although don't get me wrong, I do like Arkansas, but dark horse. I'm gonna throw Miami in there.
Hey, that's a good dark horse.
Well, Dominic is my dark horse. Hold on. I've been checking back and forth on this channel since 8:30. Notifications got caught watching stuff on TV. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah. Typically I blast it earlier. But today I was like doing different things, working on my laptop. So I did not get to it earlier as I would have liked to. My apologies. My apologies, Nasir. But appreciate you rocking out as always. So yeah, you guys, that's it for March Madness. Starts in a few days. I'm excited. Miami will possibly lose in the first round. Yeah, so it's a possibility anybody can lose. Actually, you just got to be the better team for that for that one day, and then you move on to the next game. So, but this is why I said my dark horse. My dark
Yeah,
horse. I don't have.
I don't think they'll lose to Mizzou. They could lose to Mizzou. Mizzou has a solid team, but I think Miami is gonna be good that first round. I have them beating Missouri in the first
Mhm.
round.
We gonna see though. Women's bracket is easy. I didn't even go on bracket. Are you coming with the women's basketball?
Oh yeah. The women are good. I don't think it's as easy as a lot of people are thinking it's gonna be. I mean, usually when it comes to women's tournament time, it usually is a lot of chalk. It usually is a lot of chalk, but I think there's a lot of good women's basketball teams this year,
Hmm.
and it's not going to be chalk. I don't think it's going to come down to all number one seeds when it comes to the women basketball. I really like Iowa State. Iowa State got two dogs that can beat anybody. Of course, UConn is UConn. They're a powerhouse.
Always.
Um, UCLA is good. South Carolina, you already know what they represent. LSU, you already know what they represent. I just think it's a lot of good women's basketball teams out there this year. that could cause some damage. And so it's gonna be interesting how it all pans out. UConn probably would win it if
The
because
whole thing, you have won the whole thing.
yeah, because Auriemma, he and those women at UConn, they play for legacies. They play according to matching up against other women UConn teams in history. And so with that being said, they need to go undefeated for the whole year and win it all. And that'll put them up there as some of the best UConn teams to ever play at UConn. So I think the challenge is there for the UConn women. And I like them. I like them.
So, starting with
I'm
first
not
region.
room for them though. I'll tell you
Who do
that.
you first region? So you have UConn pretty much, right?
Yeah, I like UConn in that first region. I mean, what's going to be interesting is with UConn is they're gonna if they win their first round of Iowa State beat Syracuse in the first round, you're gonna see Iowa State and UConn play in the second round. I look forward to that. I look forward to that matchup because I'm pulling for Iowa State. I really do want to see them do well in this tournament, but in that particular bracket, I know Ohio State girls are good, but I think UConn is by far better than every team in that region.
The only upset is a possible Notre Dame beating South Carolina Gamecocks, and I'm a huge Raven Johnson fan. Yeah, but you mentioned that on the other live that you're a big fan of hers. That's what's up. I will for me, women, it's not it's not as complicated. So Nasir was right, in my opinion, with that. UConn, I expect to go far. UCLA, I expect them to go far. Who else is up in here to go far? LSU, they got some things to figure out. I expect them to still go far.
Yeah. I think they're in the toughest bracket.
South Carolina is a given. They're well coached. They're gonna get close.
Where they got their whooped by Texas, I don't know. They better.
They're still gonna get
up.
close though. They're not gonna be out in the first and second round.
Yeah, I think they playing in a good region for them. I think the only two teams that they have to be concerned with
I like
in that
TCU
region,
too.
Oklahoma. I mean TCU is good. I was gonna say Oklahoma and Iowa. That conference. Hey, they gonna play some ball in that bracket.
And
That's
Texas,
Sacramento 4.
Texas in there as well.
Right.
So yeah, we gonna see. It starts, I think, 17th tomorrow. Is that right? I think the first games, for the men, I think maybe start tomorrow. So yeah,
I think the UCLA bracket is tough because you got Duke in that bracket, you got LSU in that bracket, and UCLA is in that bracket. It's gonna be a some good basketball played in that bracket, and then I think Texas. I think Texas is pretty much they might be a lock to win their bracket, but we'll see what Michigan girls do. But yeah, those Duke girls are really good. Folk better watch out for them Duke girls. They ain't no pushovers.
Thank you, Nasir. Tomorrow the playing games. Thank you. Gotta finish watching Team USA their FIBA World Cup qualifiers. That's the final game is tomorrow with that. So I'll be tuned in for that on live again, 5:00 when they play Spain. That should be an interesting game for them. That should be the one game that they actually have some competition in. They've been just beating folks down. It's been no competition at all.
That's what USA girls do. They don't have competition.
No competition.
They gonna beat everybody all the time. The world hasn't caught up with the girls' game, so.
I mean, Spain looks to be like a decent competitor. So I'm not gonna say Spain's gonna win it, but I don't think it'll be like a 50-point blowout, like how it's been like the past few games.
No, they might not beat them by 50. They might beat them by 30.
I'm not going to even say that based on how Spain looks right now. But we're going to see. These are just the qualifiers anyway. The actual, FIFA World Cup doesn't start until September. So if they win or lose, doesn't matter. They're still going to be in. So it's
Oh, it
like
matters.
it's still
No, it
good.
matters if they win or lose.
They're still going to be in, is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
they're
they
not going to be
still gonna be in
eliminated.
it, but it matters if they
Yeah.
win or lose. They can't come back because the girls ain't lost in ever.
If
So
they lose, then that'll
it
be what happens. And sometimes you got to
yeah,
lose to not play
no,
with your food and to learn. Sometimes that
no,
happens. Are they
it's
going to go into it
unacceptable.
expecting to win? I mean, to lose, no. But sometimes you lose games you're supposed to win, and that happens. So for
Yeah, it's
me,
if the
if you
men
lose
lose,
it,
it's different.
if you
But if
lose
the
it,
women
then how do
lose,
you bounce back and how do you prepare? For September.
there'll
There's
be
nothing else you really
there'll
can't
be
do
an
if you lose.
embarrassment to the country if they lose. The women ain't never lost.
If it is, it'll be an embarrassment that hopefully they'll learn from if they do lose.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to lose. I'm just saying
If
they're going
they
to be more.
lose, don't none of them girls should be allowed to be on the real team when it's time for the Olympics.
There's a whole bunch of them on that team. The lineups I noticed with Coach Nate are different than Coach Lawson.
Oh yeah,
When she
yeah,
was
yeah.
coaching, so there's a lot that goes into it, But like I said, sometimes there's teams that should win games, and you're like, how the
Yeah.
heck did they
I
lose
mean,
that
I
game to that
understand.
team?
United States sent the B team girls. They sent the B team girls, which I'm fine with. But even the B
I don't
team
think they're
girls
B team.
supposed to be better than all the rest of the world.
hmm But like I said, so hopefully they don't lose. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting them to lose. I expect to be competitive. But if they did lose, you get embarrassed or whatever. Learn from it and be better in September and win the whole damn thing. That's all you can do if you lose. Is learn from it. You can't go back and redo it.
Yeah, if they lose, they should have to spend a whole week overseas. You can't even come home. I sent them to Iran.
Maybe moving over though, because NFL free agency has a lot going on in free agency. Oh my goodness, I gotta pull my phone up for this one because there's been so much that has happened between last week and this week. In terms of free agency, like what is I guess for you, maybe I'm most exciting, or I'm not gonna say exciting. But for you, like what move has you the most like? Okay, this is like the best move you think. Who's like the biggest winner thus far in NFL free agency?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. I mean, because you can go Mike Evans to the 49ers. I think that's a huge pickup for the 49ers.
I'm surprised they let him go. I was like, why didn't they let him go?
They didn't let him go. He was a free agent.
But still make him a nice offer. Get him back.
The Bucks made him the best offer. He wanted to win the championship. He thinks that he has a better chance winning the championship with Brock Purdy than he does with Baker Mayfield. And he's not gonna play too much longer, so he's just trying to strike the one more time before it's over with for him. And he thinks that he has a better chance in San Francisco than he does in Tampa Bay. So I get that, but Tampa Bay they did everything in their power to get Mike Evans back. They wanted him to retire, but it just wasn't something that he was interested in at the end of the day. But if he could stay,
you're making me laugh. Stop it.
If he could stay healthy, I think that was a big time move. I also like Kenny Walker going to Kansas City because Kansas City was desperate for a running back. They haven't had a running game in the last 3 years, and that's been one of their weaknesses. And they put a lot of stress on Pat Mahomes to do it all because they had no reliable running game. So if Kenny Walker, once again, this is a matter of him staying healthy. And if he can do that, then I think that was a big move. But anytime you talk about NFL free agency and big moves, you can't get away from the quarterback position. And I really think with the Jets having all the draft picks that they have, I think they've made the best moves so far as improving, because you did bring Breece Hall back and they brought a few pieces back that they had lost.
Shout out to Justin Fields going to Kansas City.
Oh yeah, good trade. Good trade for the Jets. Was able to get off. You was able to get off a guy and send him somewhere, and so what that did was allow them to free up the money that they paid, that they was gonna have to pay to get Geno, because the Raiders are paying a chunk of Geno's salary. So the salary that the Jets were gonna pay him, they just got back in a Justin Fields deal. So it worked out for him. It's almost like they were given I mean, I think out of all the quarterbacks that were available in this offseason, I think the Jets got the best one. I think Geno was the best quarterback available out of all the quarterbacks that were available. So with all the moves that they made and all the draft picks that they have, if AG is the coach that I want him to be, and I hope he is to keep his job, then the Jets are going to be very competitive this year. Will they win the division? Probably not. It's probably going to take a while to get back. But I think they also made some good moves on the defensive side of the ball too. But I think they're definitely going to be way more competitive this year than they were last year, based on the moves that they've been able to make.
For me, the thing about the Jets, and like I said, I'm rooting for AG. Obviously, I'm glad that he didn't get fired for this season that they had. Because man, I was scared for him now. But I will say the thing that was the most glaring to me, like the team didn't seem like they had any kind of fight with will. Like sometimes, a team just may not necessarily have the talent, compared to the team that they're going against, the opposing team. But when I watched them play, it was just like they were just out there like, oh well. Like they didn't really seem like they actually gave a damn. And I'm just like, where is that coming from? Like, is that, I don't know, is that the coach? Is it the players don't like the coach? Is there something like what's happening? Because to me, even if you lose, you should still be out there playing your best, or at least putting forth your best effort. I didn't even see effort out of time. And I'm just like, what's going on in this locker room? Like, you getting paid millions. I think your team sucks, whatever. I get that. But you're still living out your dream. You're still getting paid, very well to do so. I'm just like, you just seem like you really could care less, So I don't know. Hopefully there's a shift in that locker room within the culture. Hopefully he has the players with the right kind of mindset now, not just talent wise, but also mind wise, who really want to come in and make some things happen in a positive way.
Yeah.
I was gonna Nasir, your comment about Kyler Vikings Super Bowl. Oh man, look, Kyler Murray obviously is talented, but when you got to put in a contract that you got to have the guy watch film, that to me is very glaring. Like that's crazy. So I don't know,
That
maybe
is
he's
crazy.
matured since then, or he's learned something, or there's something in him that has shifted. But to me, that for you to be a franchise QB, someone has to put that in your contract. Like that's unacceptable to me. So I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. But that's just me.
I don't trust Kyler Murray either. He's gonna be in the quarterback competition. Maybe he'll win it. Maybe he'll beat out
JJ.
JJ. Maybe he'll beat out JJ. Maybe he won't. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think Kyler Murray is really good. I don't think he's good at all, actually. So
I don't think he cares enough.
right. So you got him for the cheap. You got him for the 1 year, $1 million deal. It's a prove it contract. He's going to be motivated. If he's not motivated, then he's going to be out the league, because you got to be motivated. You got to believe that you can go out here and beat JJ McCarthy. But JJ McCarthy, a lot of folk fail to realize, he might have dealt with a lot of injuries. He might not been that good, but JJ McCarthy is a competitor. He ain't finna lay down.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
He ain't finna lay down and just let this man come in here and take his job. He's gonna do everything he can in his power to win a job. And guess what? He was a top 10 pick. He's gonna have every opportunity to win the job, because really, at the end of the day, it's in Minnesota's best interest if JJ McCarthy wins the job. Best case scenario, he's the starting quarterback. So I think it's gonna be a good quarterback competition. Again, if Kyler Murray is who people believe he is, then he'll win the job. But I'm not so sure he'll win the job. And let me just say this real quick about the Jets. I like the Minkah. I was thinking about the defensive players that I like they have. They got a lot of them, but Minkah Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Wright were the two that I was like, okay, they're getting their secondary together. Every time I was watching Chicago Bears last year, it seemed like Deshaun Wright was getting an interception. And he was one of the big reasons of why Chicago led the league in turnovers, because Deshaun Wright is a ball hawk and a playmaker. And we know what Minkah Fitzpatrick brings to a defense, brings to a team. He brings that attitude, that toughness that you need. He's a leader. He was a leader when he was in Pittsburgh for all those years on defense, and he was a leader in Miami. So I like that they traded and got Minkah Fitzpatrick and him and Deshaun Wright, and they got Andre Cisco. They really kind of solidified their secondary. Demario Davis, we'll see what he got left in the tank. He was loved down in New Orleans.
Hmm.
Big playmaker, Pro Bowl type player. So they got some more holes to fill on defense, but again, they got a lot of draft picks to try to start plugging in some of them holes. Pause. But
Hmm.
yeah, I like the moves that they make. And again, Minnesota is ready made their quarterback away. What but they still are a question mark at quarterback if you ask me.
This year I find it so funny because you were like one of the loudest critics when it came to Shador. Impaired, not doing the work. And here you have Kyler, who has not really proven anything. He hasn't led his team to no crazy deep playoff run. He hasn't won it
No
all, no
playoff
nothing.
run.
And you like for Kyler, you're like, oh, but Kyler's this, Kyler's that, and you were on Shador about hanging out with his dad or going to Thanksgiving dinner with his family and whatnot. But with Kyler, like, what exactly are you going by? What are you judging? You know what I mean? You said disrespect Kyler. Kyler, I think he is talented. I don't think he really cares enough, to move past the talent and take do what's necessary to lead a franchise. I haven't seen that yet. And if you got to put that in a contract, that's very glaring about where your mindset is. Like, talent wise, you have, otherwise you wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like, they see something in you. You know what I mean? They even paid you. But to have to put that in as a clause, like, has to look at film. Like, what are we doing? You haven't said anything about that at all. But you was going crazy on Shador during the season, man. The devil is a liar. We had a playoff run and lost to the Rams.
I really can't remember. Maybe he did have one with Cliff Kingsbury. Um, I can't recall. Maybe 2021. Maybe I think that was his best season. 2021. Maybe they had a small run then, but he hasn't been good.
Yeah, I said not a deep playoff run.
Right now, no, ain't no
Yeah.
deep playoff runs. No, he's not been that. I mean, he's one of those guys, and I like Kyler Murray. I last year I picked Arizona Cardinals to win the division because I thought Kyler Murray was gonna have a breakout season. I like, okay, it's either
Mhm.
now or never, and he continuously it's always something. Either he gets hurt as you come down the stretch of a season, or last year they just decided that Jacoby Brissett was just better. And when he was injured, they told him to, go on. Anytime you're supposed to be a franchise quarterback and you're getting paid that kind of money, they tell you don't even worry about it. You can just go on to the house. That's not good. It's not a good sign.
This sounds like a crazy excuse. The GM organization apologized to Kyler. I get the mistake you made. The video games assisted Kyler in making real time decisions. Nasir, come on now. Come on, Nasir. If you're gonna hold everybody accountable, let's hold everybody accountable. Let's not pick and choose, dude. Anytime you put that in a contract, like with Zion, you have to maintain this and do
Right.
this and train and run and all you got to put all these different things in there. It's because you're not doing it. So come on now, let's
Yeah.
not do that.
And what he's failing to understand is the GM organization, they did apologize to Kyler Murray, but what they were doing, they were trying to not decrease his value because they wanted to trade him because they didn't want to get stuck with the bag. So they tried to make it look like, it wasn't all your fault, Kyler. This was on us. You really are good. You really are talented. And, somebody should come trade for you because you that good. And guess what? No NFL team was buying. None. You look at what the Jets did.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders were ready to release Geno Smith, but the
Mm-hmm.
Jets knew that a lot of teams were going to be trying to bid for Geno Smith. So the Jets decided just to trade for him. We're not going to we don't want you to release Geno because if you release him, we might not get him. We'll trade you for him.
Mm-hmm.
The nobody was worried about Kyler Murray going out to free agency. It's only one team that seemed like they really wanted Kyler Murray, and that was Minnesota. So,
I will
you get it
say,
for the cheap.
I think if any coach, I think I said this before he even was announced that he was going there. I think if any coach kind of get him back on the right path, it would be will be Kevin. He seems to,
I
I don't know
agree.
what he does in that locker room, what he says, the kind of practices he has. I don't know, or he's just like the quarterback whisperer. I don't know what he's saying, but the quarterbacks come through there and they seem to kind of revive their careers, so I think, and if this doesn't work and he does worse than Sam Darnold, because everybody was saying Sam Darnold was this and he was that, I really don't know, because that talent, that roster on both sides is loaded with talent, offense and defense, so they're well coached. He's not going to some team where they're kind of like trying to rebuild and fix everything. They already have a culture established. They got good coaching. So if he can't succeed in this system, I wouldn't know what to say.
Well, I think we just got to give some credit to Sam Darnold, who played well in that system. I mean, to the end of the season, but he played well.
Sam.
He played well in that system. But Carson Wentz was still Carson Wentz. He didn't turn his career around being in Minnesota. I mean, can you get the quarterback you drafted with the number 6 pick in the draft? Can you get that quarterback to play well? So all this quarterback whisperer stuff, it's almost like the label they tried to put on Sean Payton. They tried to call him a quarterback whisperer. You had one guy. You had Drew Brees. Can you get another quarterback to be great before we can start calling you the quarterback whisperer? And I think the same thing with Kevin O'Connell. Don't get me wrong, Kevin O'Connell might can work magic with Kyler Murray. We're gonna see. But what quarterback has he made great? I get Sam Darnold revived his career, but that credit really goes to Shanahan. Sam Darnold started to revive his career the year that he was in San Francisco, backing up. And Shanahan got him right, just like Shanahan got Mac Jones right. Shanahan got an MVP out of Matt Ryan. Shanahan turned Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl quarterback. Shanahan took the last pick in the draft and Brock Purdy and got him a $50 million contract. Shanahan is the guy we should be calling a quarterback whisperer, not all these other guys who got one successful quarterback under their belt and somehow they get the name to be the quarterback whisperer. How? You got to at least have 3 quarterbacks that you done work with and turned into something before I can credit you with that name.
I feel you. I hear you. But I do believe there's something to be said about what he does. But it's also, like I said, even though aside, let's say that he's not the quarterback whisperer, and he's just a regular average coach, good but not great, that team, he has really, really wonderful weapons on offense.
Oh, yeah.
The defense is really great. So, he's still a good coach. If you don't think he's great, he's still a good coach.
Oh, yeah, he's a good coach.
So honestly, he has everything that he needs to succeed is there in Minnesota. You got a motivated team who just watched Sam go out and win a Super Bowl, and they're like, "Damn, we had him last year. We got rid of him." So you have everything that you need to be successful there. So there's no excuses. We can like, oh, well, he doesn't have this, or the roster don't have that. They don't have this. They're missing that. Well, this happened to that one, and so on and so forth. So we gonna see, but like I said, I don't trust him. If anytime somebody has to put in your contract, you got to do certain things that are just like common sense, like it's a requirements, like having a singer who don't want to get in the booth and sing, who don't want to record. We got to put in the contract, you must go to the studio 4 times a week. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you got to get to see, you got to put the mic on, the headphones, you got to record. If I got to tell you that, I don't know if you really want. Now, maybe you can actually have a good voice, be a good singer, but if you're not motivated to actually sing, that's a problem. So we're going to see. We're really going to see. Talk about Felton will have minimum 8 touchdowns. Jefferson, Addison, and Felton.
The weapons are there. We know the weapons are there. Offense and defense. They're quarterback away from being a real Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. It's a shame to have all that talent and just like, damn, I felt bad. I was like, man. But I know I was watching Speak, and I think it was TJ Houshmandzadeh. He was saying that he was spoke to JJ after it was announced that Kyler was going there, and he was saying that JJ was like, he's excited. He's all for the competition. He welcomes it. He's not going to shy away. And I expect nothing less from JJ. He's a competitor. I will give him that much. And I think it was Acho was saying, I'm paraphrasing y'all, I'm not saying verbatim. Anytime you have a quarterback in college whose offense isn't run through him, he didn't really have too much confidence in JJ, to I guess, be a good QB in the NFL. But I do believe he's a competitor. We've seen spurts of it, you know what I mean? Like in the fourth quarter, come out of nowhere and go on like this
Right.
run. You're like, okay, JJ, I see it. And the next game, you're like, JJ, what the hell are you doing? So we're going to see. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That's the first thing. You got to stay
Yeah.
healthy.
Gotta stay healthy.
We
That's
can
the
really
biggest
see.
thing because
Yeah.
he's a young quarterback, and
Yeah, he
young
is.
quarterbacks it takes time for them to develop. I don't judge no quarterback who hasn't played 3 years in the league. I'm not gonna call you a bust after your first year and your second year. Now after your third year,
Hmm.
if you show no improvement, then I start having
Hmm.
question marks. But I'm gonna give all young quarterbacks 3 years to show
Hmm.
because this is the problem that the Jets had with Sam Darnold.
Hmm.
You got rid of him after just 1 or 2 years of seeing him, and now he turns out to be a solid quarterback. And what do you have? You have nothing. They
Hmm.
gave up on Geno, and then Geno goes to Seattle, and he becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback, leading teams to playoffs. Like you got to give these young quarterbacks an opportunity to develop. And if you don't do that, and you don't put weapons around them, that's going to
Hmm.
stifle their development because you need weapons around you. You need a tight end. You need a wide receiver. You need a running game. You need a pretty decent offensive line. You can't just put a guy out there and tell him to go play and think that he's going to be great, and you don't got the pieces around him. So I'm not out on JJ McCarthy just yet. I like him more than I like Kyler Murray, but we'll see how that plays out.
Nasir, I used to like really hear you like and hear your opinion, but now I'm like I can't really take your opinion too seriously because you hold Shador accountable, but you don't hold Kyle to the same standard. I don't like to pick and choose. You know what I mean? If I'm holding somebody accountable for not putting in the work or whatever, then I got to hold everybody to that same standard. I can't pick and choose based on color or who
Well,
my favorite is, who's not. You know what I mean? If
Kyler,
Kyler,
Kyler doesn't wear jewelry to the press conference. Maybe that's
he
his
might not
thing.
do that, but no, I
Right.
know, but
Maybe that's the
but
sheer thing.
yeah, okay. So I could say, no, just don't put no jury on and you good, good in this year's eyes. Um, I want to ask you, what did you think about Tua in the ATL?
I understand the move by the Falcons.
How y'all
I
feeling
like
the ATL about it? What's the street saying? Y'all
it's
excited?
mixed. It's mixed. It's a mixed
Okay,
reaction. Some
yeah.
people like it. Some people don't like it. But what it comes down to is Matt Ryan and this regime has to clean up the mess that the last regime made.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of people here, they're really it's 50-50 on Michael Penix. A lot of people here like the Falcons should have never drafted Michael Penix. He was hurt every year he
I
played
agree
in
with that.
college, and they shouldn't have took a chance on him. And then you got the other one people who think that Michael Penix he has a chance to be good. They want to see it.
He gives
Tua,
me backup QB. I don't think franchise guy. He just he came into it hurt. He seems to always stay hurt. I can't have a franchise guy
yeah.
who's always hurt.
Well, he- when he played at Washington his last year that he led Washington to a national
Hmm.
championship game, he looked
Hmm.
like the real deal. He looked like one of the
He's
best
talented. I
quarterbacks
watched.
in
Yeah, I'm
college.
watching him in
So
college. Yeah.
again, it comes down to health. Same with Tua. Tua is one of the best 32 quarterbacks in football if he's
One of the best
healthy.
32 kills me every time you
Yeah.
say
I mean, yeah, but it's tough.
it.
It's
One of
tough
the
to
best
crack that.
32.
It's tough to crack that 32, But the problem with Tua is he can't stay healthy. You hold your breath every time he takes a
Yeah,
sack.
I can't watch him play. I'm like,
That's
ooh,
but
like my
Tua,
nerves be shot.
but he's one of the most accurate passers in the
Hmm.
NFL if he's healthy. And one
Hmm.
thing about the Falcons, they have weapons. They have Kyle Pitts. They have the running back
Hmm.
Bijan Robinson. They
They do.
have
They do have weapons.
they
Plenty of them.
have Drake London. They have wide receivers that improving the offensive line. They made some moves to come back. The defense was really good last year, and it's going to improve. Um, the James Pierce situation, they're probably going to lose a good player there, but they've added some more pieces on the defensive side of the ball as well. So the question again with the Falcons comes down to the quarterback position. Can either of those quarterbacks stay healthy enough for the team to compete in the long run. If they can, then they're going to be good. If not, then guess what? It's a win-win situation, I think, for Atlanta, because if neither of those guys are good, you're just going to go in the draft and get a quarterback next year in one of the most stacked quarterback drafts you're going to have in a long time. So this is for both Tua and Penix. This is a make you or break you season, because if you don't play well, the Falcons is just going to go in the draft next year and they're going to get a franchise quarterback.
Two QBs who have health concerns. I don't know what's going on. But like I said, weapons are there. You're not going to a situation, where there's no weapons. You're also going to a team that's motivated, to make a change and to, play their best football and to play winning football. New coach, that always helps, like you said, Matt Ryan. So I think it could be good for Tua, but he had weapons, in Miami, so. The thing with Tua is, like I said, when it starts to get cold and that weather starts to shift, that's when the issue comes in. So Tua, I said, I really think Stefanski needs to send Tua to a colder climate for a few times each month to do some training so that he can get acclimated to playing in cold weather. Real talk, because all this time and him in cold weather just do not mix.
You're right about that, but it's a little bit different in Atlanta because you're playing the NFC South, so you got Tampa Bay, which is always warm. Atlanta, you're playing in the dome. Carolina, it's always warm. New Orleans is warm, and you're playing in the dome. So for the most part, he don't got to go to Buffalo. He ain't got to go to New York twice to play the Jets and Buffalo and New England. How is Miami in the AFC North when they are the team that's furthest south? It's almost not fair, So for them to have to play Buffalo, play the Jets, and then play New England, like that don't even make no sense. Tua ain't got to worry about that no more. You're gonna play Carolina twice, you're gonna play the Saints twice, and you're gonna play Tampa Bay twice. And yes, you're gonna play some games outside of that. Every now and again, the blue moon, you might have to go play one of these teams in the cold. But for most part, he's gonna be in a controlled climate or a warm climate. So that's gonna bode well for a guy like Tua, which is one of the reasons I believe he decided to come to Atlanta, because you don't have to deal with too much cold weather.
Yeah, like I said, send him to some cold weather, because we're playing in somebody's cold weather in the season. It's not gonna be warm for all. Was it 18 games, I believe?
Yeah, but in the NFC South, all you gotta do is win 9 games. You win 9 games, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah. That'd be my one thing. To that note, and can Tua stay healthy? Like I said, every time he slide or he start running, I'm like, oh my God, Tua, don't run. I'm like, just don't run. Be careful.
No, don't do none of that. But
Tua, my anxiety on 10. I can't watch him play. I'm like, whew.
Yeah, he's tough to watch, but I believe Tua is in a position where he's gonna be the backup quarterback. Now, is Penix gonna be ready to go week 1? I doubt it, even though Penix is saying that he's gonna be ready week 1. I doubt it. I don't know. Jason Tatum
going from one QB competition to another, huh?
Well, that's down to every team in the league. I mean, we just talked about a team in Minnesota that got 2 quarterbacks that stay hurt too, and they're gonna be in the quarterback competition. It just unless you got your guy, unless you got a franchise guy, you're in a situation where you're gonna have a quarterback competition.
Not so many teams have QB competitions.
Chiefs,
not so many teams.
No, I'm saying teams that got their franchise guys, they don't have quarterback competitions.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Teams for the most part do, have their guy, or they think they have their guy.
Pittsburgh is going to have a quarterback competition. Cleveland is going to have a quarterback competition. Minnesota is going to have a quarterback competition.
I just say he just came from Cleveland.
You say
that
what?
Was my point. That's what I was saying. He just came from Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'm
saying
what's going on in Arizona.
I'm saying half the teams in the league has got a quarterback competition, and that's just football. But I don't think the Falcons are one of those teams. The Falcons are not in a situation where they're having a quarterback competition. Tua is the backup. Now, if Penix is not ready to go week 1, then Tua is gonna go. And if Penix is out, let's say Penix is out 4 weeks, and Tua comes in and he starts out 4-0. Well, then it's his job until he loses it. That's just how it's gonna go. But I
I don't
think
think
the
they want
plan,
Tua to be the backup.
but I
I
think
could
the
be wrong.
plan is
I
for
don't think so.
Penix to be the starter and Tua to be the backup in case something happens to Penix. And if Penix is not ready to go week 1, you have a guy in Tua that you can rely on. But I don't think nobody in Atlanta is expecting Tua to be the starting quarterback, like
I
the
think
guy.
I don't think they brought him there to be a backup. You know what I mean? Like I said, I could be wrong. We're gonna see. Obviously, if Michael Penix is hurt, then obviously that's a given. But if they're both healthy, I think they're gonna
Oh
go with
yeah, if they're
Tua.
both healthy,
Um,
it's gonna be Penix because Arthur
I got
Blank,
Tua.
because
That's what I think.
it's just the owner gets to decide who's the starting quarterback.
Hmm.
And Arthur Blank already done told them folks, and they kind of there's a lot of discussion about that in Atlanta too. A lot of people are mad at Arthur
Hmm.
Blank because he already said Michael Penix is my franchise quarterback. Well,
Hmm.
we can try to put what we want to put in there, but everybody knows that whoever the owner wants to be the quarterback, that's who the quarterback gonna be.
Hmm.
So Michael Penix is gonna have every opportunity to lose the opportunity to be the starting quarterback based on his performance and based on his health. If he's not capable of doing that, then they believe they have a very capable quarterback in Tua to come in. So I like it. I like it. I actually like it for Atlanta. I think they have two very capable quarterbacks. It's just, can they stay healthy? And if they can stay healthy, then I believe they'll be good. Definitely in this division that they're in.
Before we get out of here, more so a hot take. A lot was said like the past week from the likes of Steve Kerr and some other coaches um, about SGA, and him getting to that good old free throw line. Because he's gonna do it every single time. He's gonna do it
Mm-hmm.
every single time. And a lot of the comments now are like, okay, SGA is like bad for basketball. Can you imagine? So I'm actually play this clip. Let me know what you think about this. SGA his foul baiting.
Shea is from the school of Lou. He's seen it, right? And he's put it in his game and he's done something with it that works. For this to even be effective for players, you got to be able to score the basketball. That's why they respect the head fake. That's why they're running up and trying to guard him the way that they're trying to guard him, because you have to respect his ability to score the basketball. So Jaylen Brown is absolutely right. This is a manipulation of the game. This is a game inside of the game. I'm playing chess, you're playing checkers. The name of the game is to put points on the board. It's to score the basketball, whether it's going to be a free throw, a jump shot, a layup, or a three-pointer, whatever. The name of the game is to score more points than you. If I found a way inside of that game to make it go my way and to benefit from you not being able to be disciplined on defense or having your hands in the cookie jar or jumping and all of these things, you got to deal with that. So that's one thing out of this argument that I agree with Jaylen Brown on. This is a manipulation of the game. However, as you can see in the clips, these are legitimate fouls. Now, am I baiting you into a foul? Absolutely. But you are taught to stay down on pump fakes. You are taught to keep your hand out of reaching. You are taught to not reach on defense. You're taught all of these things. Players are taught all of these things. And if I'm making you pay for doing the things that you're taught not to do, so be it. And I'm going to make it work in my favor. But also, we never forget in this whole conversation and in this argument, SGA can score the basketball. The free throws are added incentive. That's an added part of the game. He can absolutely score this basketball. Last night, he shot 5 free throws last night. So this isn't an every night occurrence. This is about discipline, and this is about guys being disciplined in their defensive stance. Simple and plain for me. So guys can complain about it, but listen, foul baiting been going on since the beginning of time. They've changed the rule over and over, trying to figure it out and correct it. And until guys stay a little bit more, we're going to play a game inside of the game, and it works for SGA.
What are your thoughts about foul baiting in
I
general?
agree with Lemon Pepper Lou. I mean, I don't.
Do you think it's bad for basketball?
I mean, it's not fun to watch. I'll put it that way. But when I was coming up, Michael Jordan went to the free throw line. It was crazy the amount of fouls he got. I mean, You would just breathe on Michael Jordan the wrong way, and they were calling a foul, and he was going to the line, and he was beating a lot of teams at the free throw line. I mean, he didn't always have the best field goal percentage, but he's gonna shoot a lot of free throws and gonna beat you. Karl Malone was the same way. Karl Malone for a lot of years led the league in free throw attempts. I mean, some guys, but those guys, both Karl Malone and Michael Jordan, were great scorers. They can score the basketball. They can score so good that you're trying to take things away and they'll bait you into a foul. And that's the same thing that's happening with SGA. Yes, he's foul baiting you, but James Harden, that's a good one this year. James Harden is really good at it. Jalen Brunson is really good at it. Jalen Brunson is the one that frustrates me the most.
He is good at it.
He frustrates me the most because Austin Reeves, he frustrates me a lot with it. You have a lot of players. You have a lot of players that Luka is another one. You got a lot of players that do a lot of foul baiting.
Yeah,
I don't think in the pure aspect of basketball is fun to watch. I just like to go see if a guy can score, and if a guy's trying to score legitimately and you foul him, then yes, send him to the line. But like Lou said, some of these guys are playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Their job is to score the basketball by any means necessary. Free throws count. So if they can pump fake you, head fake you, and you're reaching in and you're going for the pump fakes and the head fakes, then as a defender, that's on you at the end of the day. You got to stay down and you got to be disciplined on defense when you're playing against those guys, or else they're going to be shooting a lot of free throws. KD, they changed the rule because KD was good with the first one I seen start doing the up and under swipe move. And he was going to the free throw off that. Now, when you do that swipe move, they just give you the ball out. They change the rules. So unless they change the rules for these head fakes and these pump fakes to where you're not going to the free throw line due to that, then it is what it is. I don't know what you can do about it other than the defender has to stay down, be disciplined, and not go for it.
I don't think SGA has all, but I will say I'm taking off SGA because he's not the only one that does it. Like we were just saying, the foul baiting to me is annoying. It really is annoying because we sit here and the conversation is always about how great SGA is and how much he can score. But more times than not, if he has 30 points or 35 points in the game, you take away half, half it's in free throws. You know what I mean? You take away half of those free throws. Will he still average around the same? I don't know. You know what I mean? Because we don't really see it. He simply owes the free throw line. It's annoying. It's annoying as hell to me to see not just SGA specifically, but to see a player intentionally, go for a foul, and then it's like you ran into me, like you ran right into my back. You know what I mean? I'm looking this way, you run into my back, and you go into the free throw line. For me, I would appreciate it more if it was balanced. Like you call, you're like, well, it was a free throw, you did reach in or whatever have you, but at the same time, you limit defense and what they can do. It's like it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to figure out how I can guard you without touching you. Like don't breathe on you. Like don't move this way. Don't move that way. And if I move even like a half an inch to defend you, which I'm supposed to do, it's supposed to be some sort of defense being played on you. Then you're going to the free throw line. To me, the rules are not balanced. And to me, that's what the biggest difference, the biggest problem for me. I'm gonna say difference. The biggest problem for me is. Same thing in NFL sometimes. It's like, okay, well, how is he supposed to stop? Or what's he supposed to do? If the rules are always or more in favor of the offense, because if that's the case, then what we're saying, no defense at all. Like find a balance for me. I don't want to see anybody at the free throw line, half of the game. It's like, come on now, So to me, it's just a lack of the balance for me that's irritating. There were some players, and me personally, and this is just me, I respect players more who I don't see foul bait. If you are like that, then go ahead and shoot that three. Go ahead and hit that floater, that step back jump shot, whatever it is. Go ahead and do what you do and be great at it. So for me, that's just not my personal opinion. I'm like, another free throw. okay. After a while, I tune out. I'm like, tweet them out again. I don't care who it is. SGA, Luca, AR, Jalen. I'm like, oh my god, not again. You know, like, and then some players never get any calls. You know, I'm like, what the
Right.
heck is going on? Like, what are we doing? You know, like,
I,
find some consistency, please.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of it too. I think the referees got to do a better job. You know,
And they never get
if,
held accountable.
no, they
Like,
don't get held
everybody's still
accountable.
accountable. But you
The
say
refer,
anything about the refs and they're bad officiating, and here you getting fined. I'm like, what is this?
yeah, well, it's not up to the players to criticize the referees because the referees have a job to do, but it's up to us. We're the ones we're the consumers of the game. We're the ones that got to criticize the referees. The head coaches, they got to pick and choose good timing to criticize the referees. And I do think these referees do an awful job. If the offensive player runs into the defensive player, don't call the foul on a defensive player because what is he supposed to do? He's trying to defend. He has an area that he's supposed to be able to, control. And
Yeah.
if the offensive player runs into him and then decides to go up and makes contact with the defender, then that should not be a foul on the defender. So I think the league wants to have a lot of scoring. So this is one of the reasons why they instruct the referees to call these fouls. That's why I say it makes no sense to criticize the refs because this is a league issue. It starts at the top. The league should tell these referees that if the offensive player runs into the defensive player, then don't call that. I mean, they've done it on some calls. The now if you flail your legs and you kick the defender, they'll call an offensive foul. But at one time, if you flail your legs and the defender hit your legs, they will call that a defensive foul. So I just think the owners, they need to sit down when it comes time for the next owners meeting and the commissioner, and they need to go over like if the offensive player is running into or what we'll call baiting the defender into a foul, don't bail them out. Just stop doing it. Stop bailing them out. Make them have to ball for their points, and then we're gonna really get to see who's really like that. So, I agree. Dennis Rodman was a great defender, but it wasn't a lot of foul baiting to this level back in the days when Dennis
It's
Rodman
getting out of
was playing.
control.
Yeah, no, this is something totally different. But again, this comes down to me to a lot of poor officiating. The offensive player should not be able to run into the defensive player, go up, and then the defensive player gets called for a foul. And that's how guys like Austin Reeves, who I like Austin Reeves, I respect him, but he's not as good as his numbers say he is. He's as good as understanding how to bait these referees into giving him fouls and sending him to the free throw line. And so you got a lot of guys, I agree, whose numbers are bigger than what they really should be. Jalen Brunson ain't that good to me.
I think he's actually very good, especially seeing him in
He's
person.
very good, but he's not that good.
But like I said, and for him, SGA, I believe Luka's really talented offensively. The Joker sometimes he foul bait, but not as much as they do. But I'm curious to see like if you took away some of those free throw calls, like what are their averages? What is their percentage looking like? Each night, So that's for me is what I would like to see. And then sometimes like they'll call the foul for SGA, and then another player do the same thing, and they want to call it. I'm like, come on, y'all gotta find some consistency here, man. It's like you picking and choosing. I hate the picking and choosing. I'm like, if you're gonna call it, then just call it. If you're not gonna call it, then don't call it. But I do agree with what you're saying. It starts from the top as it always does. And it trickles all the way down. If you stop calling it, then will you still do it? If you're not getting the calls for it, I'm just it's frustrating. But I don't think SJ is bad for basketball. I do believe that he is very talented. He's very consistent. But sometimes I'm just like, come on, not another foul. Like not again. Like what's going on?
Right.
And that sometimes just gets crazy in the game. I'm like, it's another free throw, another free throw. I'm like, all right, enough now, enough. Like I don't want to watch a game where anybody's at the free throw line the whole game or half of it for the most part. I'm like, okay, can we play some basketball now? Like Rodman would set his feet in time to draw an offensive foul.
Yeah,
defense also played different back in his time as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
we play different.
it's different now. So like to about to call you Nasir to Nadi's point, because the ends, it is the game is played differently. It's more of a offensive game now. They want high scoring games. So that takes away the defense and what defense can do and how they can play defense. So I don't like that for them as a defensive player. I'll be very very frustrated.
Yeah,
Like what
also
the hell? Like what are we doing?
Also, the referees usually change the way they officiate the game in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. In the regular season, they would let a lot of things go. They would call a lot of calls that in the playoffs they wouldn't call. And so when it came playoff time, you had to change your game up because the
Mhm.
referees weren't giving you those ticket tack calls. They weren't giving you those foul bang calls. This is just something of recent that they decided to continue doing into the playoffs. But usually in the playoffs, you had to change the way you played basketball. So hopefully the NBA and the referees can get back to not allowing players to get these foul baiting shots in the playoffs. Don't call it. Let the game play out how it's supposed to play out. And
Yes, I agree.
if they do that, then we'll have a more competitive and a more fun playoff basketball atmosphere than we've had the last couple years.
Um, I agree. We'll be getting around playoffs pretty soon. We'll be getting
Oh
there.
yeah,
It's almost that time. All right, you guys, we're gonna get up out of here. That was quick. We were quicker today. I
yeah,
was like, I told
yeah,
myself. I told myself, we're gonna be quicker today. We're gonna be quicker this Monday. My apologies. Hold on. I haven't watched an entire game since Kyrie played in the finals as a Maverick. It's all goodness here, though. You're missing some good games. I will tell you that much. All right, there's been some great games this season. Now you're missing out. But anything you want to say before we get out of here? Anything you want to add? Anyone say?
well, as always, we appreciate everybody for coming in. Hit the like, subscribe button, and share with a friend. Shout out to the people on the Instagram who were in the chat
I
today.
can't see them. That's what's up.
Yeah, there's some people in the chat and on the
Mhm.
Instagram, and also at Just Simply Sports for Katja and at One Man Cave. That's on all platforms, IGX and TikTok. Also, you know what I hate, and I just saw this today. It popped up on my phone. These
Mhm.
last 2 minute NBA reports,
Mhm.
and the last one was saying that the Lakers might have benefited from a call. The referees reported this. The Lakers
Mhm.
benefited from a call that would have gave the Nuggets the win the other night. Like, why put that out? The game is over with. All that's gonna do is piss some people off. You
Yeah.
screwed up a call. It went to overtime. The team that you screwed the call up, they end up losing. Don't even don't even acknowledge it. Just business as usual. I'm okay with
Mhm.
that. You going referees gonna screw up calls. It is what it
Mhm.
is. They should have won by more points. So I just hate when they do that because what is the team that got Jewel, what they supposed to do? How they supposed to feel? You're not gonna go and change the record books and give them the win and get the other team the
Mhm.
loss. So you might as well not even mention it.
My thing is, you should. What is the consequence or what happens for the ref that missed the call, or however you want to word it? Didn't miss the call, or didn't call it correctly. Because like I said, everybody else is held accountable for what they do, what they don't do. Coaches got to watch what they say. Players got to watch what they say. How they talk to refs and so on and so forth. And I
Right.
get the respect part of it for both sides. But I'm like, so what happens? Do you get suspended for a game? If you're like one of the more popular refs, you make a bad call or costly call that costs someone a game. I don't know. Do your I don't know, your playoff privileges, or
That's
get
what it
get
does.
revoked, so to speak, or something like that. Do you get fined? I'm not saying there got to be no crazy fine, because I
Right.
don't think the refs make that much money. They're not making millions. Some of the players are. But you can make a little small fine. So the next time, to be more careful. About they're officiating. Like I don't know. Like I said, if you're gonna hold the players accountable and they can't speak about the refs and they can't say this and they'll say that about the refs, then what about the refs when they're in the wrong? Like that's my. So if you're gonna put it out there and tell the team now, we made a mistake. You should have won the game, pretty much. Like they're gonna say what? Like
Right, right.
they're gonna be really pissed. You know what I mean? That's the first thing, and it's still in the loss column. It doesn't go back. Like so. If you're not gonna do anything to make amends, so to speak, or so it doesn't happen again, then there's no point in letting us know that. Because what
Well,
are we supposed to say?
supposedly it does affect their playoff opportunities, and
Okay.
as you continue to go further in the playoffs, they
Mhm.
continue to they grade the referees on every game, and the best referees end up making it to the finals. So it's almost like an elimination process. So they do. I mean, this is what they say they do anyway. We don't know for a fact because we don't get to see it broadcast on ESPN and then like that, or on social media. But supposedly they have grades, and if you lose a certain amount of points or you have a certain amount of points, then you have the opportunity to officiate playoff games. So there's that, but still, that doesn't do anything. What if a team doesn't even make the playoffs due to a bad call that was made? It
Yeah,
doesn't
some
affect
calls be
them.
real costly for real.
Right.
Some of these calls, like all calls, not created equal. You make a bad call in a close situation. Like in a playoff game or a game that can lead you to a playoff or whatever have you. Like those things really really matter. And once you make the call, it's made. So that's that. You can't undo it.
Right.
So it's always going to be a little bit of luck, obviously. But this is why I never want. I know it's not a perfect world, but in a perfect world, you would like to not leave, the decision to make that kind of costly call in the ref's hands anyway.
Correct.
You want to put some separation between you and the opponent so that even if they do make a crazy call, you still win the game. But that's in a perfect world, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's how it
Not the
goes. I
real
mean,
world.
if you think about a championship fight, you need to knock your opponent out, because if you
Mhm.
don't, you leave it in the hands of the judges, and when it's left in the hands of the judges,
Mhm.
it can go anyway. So it's best to, like you said, go ahead and take care of your business, because if you leave it in the hands of the referees, you can end up getting screwed at the end of the day. So
Yes, indeed. All right, you guys. Nasir is in this chat as always. I appreciate you. I hope to see you tomorrow, for the FIBA Cup qualifiers. Team USA versus Spain, and then hopefully for March Madness. I'm gonna cover some March Madness game shots. I'm excited this season. Really and truly. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. IG can't see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. But we'll see you all, of course, next week, Monday. Be there or be square. All right. Be safe. Have a wonderful, productive week. Namaste. Peace up, A-Town.